All of them are, 99-year leasehold. They are older projects, and you can see there's actually zero freehold 4-bedroom supply in the entire district. Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about Newport Residences. So this is actually a standout freehold development that's located right in the CBD. And it's also a rare opportunity because it's possibly the only freehold option in this prime area, and yet it's by a very reputable developer. So here's what we'll cover today. So first, an introduction to Newport Residences, and then we'll dive into the livability of this condo compared to the others nearby, as well as the unit mix and the views you'll be getting, followed by the intrinsic and the extrinsic value of Newport, and whether is it worth considering to buy based on these various aspects. Okay, and then we'll also wrap up with some pros, cons, as well as a final conclusion. So Newport Residences is the only freehold residential in the CBD area. There's just a 3-minute shuttle walk to the upcoming Prince Edward Station in the Circle Line, which is expected to fully complete by early 2026. So beside Prince Edward Station, Newport is also close to Tanjong Pagar MRT as well as the Cantonment MRT stations. So in terms of the connectivity, we've already mentioned that it's a short walk to the multiple MRT stations. And I will say the area is also very livable because you're very close to malls like the 100am Mall, where you can go for grocery shopping at Don Don Donki and grab a meal there as well. You also have, of course, the Tanjong Pagar Plaza with a 24-hour fair price. And a lot of eateries as well, along Amoy Street, Maxwell Market, as well as Lau Pa Sat. And as for the luxury status, it's also freehold and offers palatable entry prices that we'll go a bit into more later on. Okay, I'll say it's also a good choice for wealth preservation, appealing to the ultra-rich, as well as those looking for a solid investment or a desirable place to live in the core central region. It ranges from 1-bedroom up to 4-bedroom units, making it attractive for both owner-occupiers as well as renters, especially the professionals on employment passes in the area. So now we'll go through a bit on the project details in specifics. So Newport Residences is developed by Hong Leong. Okay, of course, they are a very reputable developer and they are a subsidiary of CDL. This project will also be part of the Newport Plaza, which is a 45-story mixed-use development with 246 residential units and from levels 23 up to 45. It's expected to TOP in the second half of 2027, which is quite soon, so I think that's a pretty good thing. And we have 131 car park lots as well, which is quite generous for a CBD location, which is more than 50% allocation. Okay, moving on, this project is in collaboration with world-class architects like Nikken Sekkei, ADDP, as well as the top consultants like EcoPlan Asia, as well as Warhub. So we can expect top-tier standards from an architectural standpoint as well as from a construction quality standpoint. Okay, so Newport's concept design architect is Nikken Sekkei. So they are extremely established worldwide and are known for creating iconic global landmarks. So one of their most famous works is the Tokyo Sky Tree, which is the 3rd tallest structure in the world and also the tallest structure in Japan. So this gives you a sense of the level of prestige and expertise behind the design of Newport Residences. And they are also behind Zion Grand as well, the recently launched one. Nikken Sekkei also designed One Zabil in Dubai, which holds the record for being the world's longest cantilever building. Okay, their portfolio shows that they don't just build buildings, they were actually building architectural statements that are recognized all around the world. So you can actually imagine Newport will be part of this level of architectural pedigree. So for the principal architect, we have ADDP, a firm that truly, they really need no introduction. Okay, they've designed many well-known developments across Singapore, especially in the central regions. Some of their recent projects, Zion Grand, performed very well on launch day, and a lot of their past projects like New Futura, Elwell Hill, Martin Modern, ASR, as well as Seaside, also fared very well in the resale market. So you can see that they are bringing very strong, proven track record for this development. And for the landscape architect, we have EcoPlan Asia. So they've also done the landscaping for recent projects like Zion Grand. Also, we've got Upper House. We've got OMG, and then of course Park Esta, Jadescape, and Leiden Green as well. So these developments have performed really well in the resale market, showing that EcoPlan has strong understanding of what creates lasting appeal in landscaping design. So from the design inspiration, as shown in the artist impression, Newport is a very tall building, up to 45 stories, and it's also elevated from ground level. So it's even higher than normal. So it will definitely stand out prominently when people drive past Keppel Road or walk past the area. So the design incorporates a lot of cascading gardens. and with roof terraces, sky terraces, and sky gardens on different levels. So this allows for those for like visual connection, okay, with greenery, lots of flowers, giving residents a more soothing and refreshing experience. So I'll say the greenery also helps to reduce a lot of the heat. Singapore is a very hot country. It makes the development in general cooler and more pleasant to stay in. And from the exterior, you also notice that the building has a very triangular curvy form, which is very different from the usual boxy cookie cutter designs, which I'll go into more details later on. So from this schematic diagram, you can see that residential units will actually start from level 23 and they go up to level 45, which is where the penthouse will be. And above that, we also have the rooftop garden, which they will call the Newport Sky. So level 2 to 9 will be the office spaces, and level 10 to 22 will be their service apartments along with their respective sky terraces. Basement 1 to 3 will house the car parks for the residential units, service apartments, and the office components respectively. And a point to highlight, even though the residential units start at level 23, the actual elevation is equivalent to around level 33 of a normal high-rise building as the development is elevated. So when you're looking at the starting prices or comparing stack heights, we should compare level 23 here to level 30 something in a typical building. So this will also mean that the entry level units will already be enjoying very elevated views. And of course, naturally, the higher you go, the more unblocked and complete the views will be. So this will play a big role in pricing the higher floors appropriately and highlights the premium of having truly unobstructed views. So this diagram shows the building height and how the views will work. So towards the Burnham Street side, over here, the units facing that direction will enjoy city views. Because one Burnham already has a certain height, up to here, for full view clearance, you'll likely need to buy level 35 or 36 and above to clear one Burnham. And then as for the sea view units, or the sea facing units, the views are currently pretty much unblocked. But since we are facing the greater southern waterfront, we don't know what the exact extent of the future obstructions might be next time. So we can say that some views may eventually be partially blocked, but that will be many years later on. And even then, we are also not so sure whether they'll be even blocked at all. The Newport Residences is significantly elevated and the GSW is a distance away. Sea-facing stacks should still enjoy very good wide-angle views for a very long time. Likewise, on the city side, due to the curvature of the building, units also get angled views even if parts are moderately blocked. Here we have a 360-degree side orientation of Newport. So the architects designed the building to be of a triangular shape to actually maximize the views of the building. So as you can see, a majority of the units will actually get to enjoy the sea views, especially for those facing west and northeast. So units on the north side will be getting the city views. And because of the tower shape, the view lines are intentionally opened up, allowing residents to enjoy different vantage points from different stacks. So this slide shows us how the building will look like at night. So the cascading curves of the architecture make the tower look very elegant, I would say. And the facade and the lighting actually highlights the curvatures and the greenery. So there's also a gradient color temperature from bottom up. Warmer tones at the lower floors, transitioning to cooler lighting nearer the crown. And this will create a striking contrast against the night sky and it gives the building a very iconic illuminated presence. There will also be ambient lighting emitted from the nodes of the building, and the lighting colors will change according to the different festive seasons, which I think is pretty cool. Overall, it's a very iconic building that will stand out day and night. So here are some perspectives on Newport, and you can see how beautiful it looks like set against the city backdrop. So the bottom image shows the crown overlooking towards the sea, and it's a very stunning sight that will define the skyline in the area in the future. So these are more artist impressions of Newport Sky, the roof level lifestyle deck. At the very top, residents can enjoy the Sky Lounge. As you can see also the spa pool, the Sky Club, Sky Pavilion and the steam room, things like the indoor jet pool, Sky Gourmet barbecue. There's also a full pool located at the roof garden, which gives a very elevated resort style experience. So in terms of the unit mix, the project is really exclusive with only 246 units altogether. And as you can see the breakdown, 44% of units are actually going to be 1 bedroom plus 1 plus study. Okay, 35% of the units are going to be 2 bedroom and 2 plus study. Only 13% are 3 bedrooms and 7% are 4 bedroom units. Okay, and it only amounts to 18 units altogether. Okay, and there will also be one coveted super penthouse as well. Okay, with a dedicated private lift and also 2 private car park lots just for this unit itself. And later I'll share some of the typical floor plans except for the penthouse. So if you like the penthouse layout or an exclusive breakdown, you can also PM me directly. Okay, so here we examine whether Newport Residences is worth buying into by breaking down the value into intrinsic as well as extrinsic components. I'll say the first intrinsic value are the views. Okay, so residential units, as mentioned earlier, start from level 23, which due to the elevation of the entire mixed-use podium is equivalent to roughly around level 30 of a regular building. So even the lowest residential levels will already get to enjoy height and view advantages. So looking at the master plan, all the land directly in front is marked yellow. So this means that the entire greater southern waterfront area will be or is subject to detailed future planning. I would say at this point, we don't know exactly what will be built. We don't know to what extent the views will be affected. But however, due to the setback and distance, it is unlikely to fully block the views. Well, as of now, okay, you get very open, unblocked sea views. But if you prefer a view that is more permanent, I would say, the city-facing units will provide greater long-term assurance, of course. Okay, so Newport Residences will be an iconic and instantly recognizable building. So as mentioned earlier, because of the height, okay, the elevation, the curves, and the illuminated facade, it will be a landmark that people just cannot ignore when they drive or walk past. Okay, and I'll say this architectural identity will give it a long-term prestige and value as well. Another intrinsic value, Newport is actually in a more livable part of the CBD compared to many of its older project counterparts in Tanjong Pagar. So some reasons for that, okay. Newport will be very close to the Icon Village, okay, you got a lot of good food over there. It's next to the 100 AM Mall. Okay, it's also near towards the Tanjong Pagar Plaza with a 24-hour NTUC fair price. And of course, as we know, we're surrounded by many eateries at Moey, Maxwell, and so on and so forth. As mentioned earlier, we're close to multiple MRT stations. Okay, and we're extremely near and a completely sheltered walk to the future Prince Edward MRT station. So I would say, compared to the other CBD condos that are surrounded, mostly by offices, Newport is in a much more convenient and comfortable pocket of the district. So this will be the only new freehold development in this entire area and the only freehold project this close and sheltered to a MRT station. So for buyers who value the luxury, the convenience, the long-term hold value and the freehold rarity in the CBD, I would say Newport becomes the one and only option. Okay, looking at the freehold projects in District 1 and 2, most are far away in the Spottiswoode area. And also within the immediate Tanjong Pagar vicinity, the only freehold developments are Onzi at Tanjong Pagar and also the Iris. And I'll say both, they are older developments. They are located further away, okay, from the amenities. And I'll say you can't compare because they are much older. And of course, the facilities are also going to be much older compared to Newport Residence itself. So I would say, this would make Newport the clear standout for anyone seeking modern freehold project in this location. Okay, now if we compare Newport to recent launches in the central area, if we talk about, say, River Green, okay, we can talk about also Promenade Peak, so say Zion Grand as well, which are very close to the MRT, River Valley as well. And also if we talk about Sky at Holland, okay, which fared very well at Holland Drive area. So when we compare Newport with recent launches in the central localities, the first benchmark is River Green, okay, located right next to Great Wall MRT. So if we look at the transactions, okay, from the August launch, okay, the units on level 23 at River Green, okay, they were all transacting around $3,000 to $3,300 per square foot. And I'll say since Newport is freehold and the freehold naturally carries a premium, even if we assume a modest freehold premium of around 10%, we should expect, okay, a Newport to be priced from $3,300 to $3,600 per square foot. What if, okay, a Newport actually has prices starting from or averaging around 3,200 per square foot. Okay, and remember, Newport's level 23 is actually equivalent to level 30 plus because of the elevation. If Newport starts around 3,002 or averages around 3,400 to 3,500, I would say that is actually a very reasonable premium, okay, for a freehold project in a central location. But of course, we will only know the exact pricing closer to launch day, So if you like the latest guide prices, feel free to reach out. Okay, so next we'll compare with Promenade Peak, which is also in the River Valley area. So for level 23, okay, recent transacted prices are around 2,900 per square foot for 2 and 4 bedroom units. Okay, and for 1 and 3 bedrooms, the stacks are very small and limited, so we will not reveal too much due to PDPA since we cannot show the unit numbers. Okay, but looking at the data, 4 bedrooms have already transacted around 3,400 per square foot. So I would say that, if Newport has a 10% freehold premium, then we should expect units to start from around or range from 3.6 to 3.7 per square foot. Then again, what if Newport is starting from 3,002, or is averaging 3.4 to 3.5? I would say, wouldn't that be a steal? So if you compare apple to apple, Newport as such pricings will be extremely attractive. Okay, now we compare with Zion Grand, also within the River Valley vicinity. So average prices for level 23, for 2, 3 and 4 bedroom units actually range from 2,900 to 3,000 per square foot. With a 10% freehold premium, we should expect around 3.2 to 3.3 per square foot, as mentioned earlier. So if Newport comes in at around 3.4 to 3.5, I'll say that's still reasonable, especially when you consider that Newport is much higher in the actual elevation. For Sky at Holland, the 2, 3 and 4 bedroom units also hover at around $2,009 to $3,000 per square foot. If we actually apply the freehold premium, Newport again should be around 3.2 to 3.3. We recognize the higher elevation, so I'll say 3.4 to 3.5 PSF for Newport is still acceptable. Okay, so comparing with the recent 99-year launches in Central, I'll say Newport is going to be a very strong value proposition if it's priced right. Okay, so next we'll compare with the upcoming launches in Central localities. First, we have the former Keppel Club site, this bid was actually won by Kingsford. And based on they actually won the land at 1,326 per square foot. Okay, and based on the estimated break-even price of around 2,444 per square foot per plot ratio, and assuming the developer targets a 30% profit margin, I would say the expected launch price should be around 3,177 per square foot. Okay, I would say given Newport is freehold, even with a 10% premium, Newport should theoretically be at least 3,500 on average. So I'll say, if we can actually secure Newport at starting from, 3,200 per square foot, averaging around 3.4 to 3.5, this is still quite a steal, especially for freehold development in such a prime area. Lastly, we'll compare with the recent GLS at Newton MRT. So this land was won at a staggering 1,820 per square foot per plot ratio, and the break-even price will work out to be around 3,113. So if the developer aims for a lower profit tier margin at 20%, their launch price should theoretically be around 3.4, 3.5 per square foot, if you use 20%. And if you use 30%, it may even be closer towards 4,000 per square foot. So if we add even just a 10% freehold premium for Newport, then it should actually average around 3.7, 3.8 per square foot on average. But of course, Newport starting prices from what we hear, may be only starting from 3,002, can average around 3.4 to 3.5, which again is very attractive, given it's freehold in a central location and has a higher elevation. And so comparing across both recent and upcoming launches, I would say Newport clearly offers a very favorable price proposition for a freehold product in a central locality. Okay, so after comparing Newport against other new launches, we can see that Newport is actually very price attractive among its peers. Now we move on to comparing Newport against the existing supply in the immediate area. So in the surrounding vicinity, we have several older projects. So for fairer comparison, we'll focus on the closer developments such as Altes as well as Sky Suites at Anson, which are located nearer the 100 AM mall site. So we use these projects because they are the most relevant in terms of the proximity, same proximity as Newport, and also the city living profile. Looking at Altes, recent 2-bedroom transactions, they've actually been in the range of 2 to 2.2 million. So if Newport's 2-bedroom pricing is around 2.4 to 2.5 million, for that fair premium, you're actually getting freehold, you're getting brand new versus Altes, which is older and 99-year leasehold. So this will actually make a lot of sense logically. Similarly, Altes 1-bedroom units, they've actually transacted around 1.2 to 1.5 million. So if Newport 1-bedrooms are from 1.4 to 1.5 million, it is still a very attractive proposition. So this shows that there is some price support from the area, but although do note that Altes has relatively few transactions, and most of them were from 2024 and 2024 and before, so it's not as recent. Okay, so next we compare against Sky Suites at Anson, which is another 99-year leasehold project. So recent one bidder transactions, it's just actually only about 900 to 1 million. So of course, comparing Newport Freehold, which is a freehold and brand new, against a much older 99-year project is not exactly apple to apple. However, the point here is about the buyer choice and the competition. So if somebody wants, a more affordable entry price, higher rental yield, a more short-term exit, then probably, the one-bedroom units in Sky Suites or the nearby older 99-year projects will probably offer a stronger rental demand, lower quantum as well, and it appeals more to those specific goals. If you want a quick exit or maximum rental yield, Newport one bidders may not be the most suitable. And I would say also looking at the two-bedroom units in Sky Suites, recent transactions are from 1.4 to 1.5 million. So if Newport's two-bedroom units are expected to be 1 mil plus more than Sky Suites, then again, for short-term gains, Newport two-bedroom units may not be the most suitable choice. So I'll say, the key point I want to emphasize is that Newport is a freehold product. It is meant for long-term holding, as most property timelines should be. And buyers should be looking at more the long-term value and the fact that it's also scarce due to the freehold attribute and not really for, quick resale flipping. So if you want a deeper analysis on this, or if you feel like you want to know whether this purchase will be safe or not, feel free to DM me as well. Okay, so now we look at the layout comparisons. Okay, for the one-bedroom units, we won't go into much detail. So most are quite similar with minor variations, mainly due to the facing. So I'll say, they mainly offer a dual entrance bathroom accessible, from the master as well as the living area. Wide, comfortable kitchen layout, okay? And they are very functional and efficient designs, especially compared to many of the nearby older developments. Okay, however, I do want to highlight this point because one bedroom and one plus study units make up the largest proportion of Newport's unit mix. If you plan to sell in the future, you may face more competition within the development and also in the locality, okay, especially against more affordable options. Okay, most two-bedroom layouts here are very conventional, with both bedrooms flanking towards the one side. Okay, nothing unusual to object to. There is one two-bedroom layout that stands out. Okay, it's actually having a tucked-in kitchen. Okay, and it also comes with a dumbbell layout, which is very efficient. Yes, so I'll say, potentially this will be more favorable. Okay, there's a less corridor wastage. Okay, there's more functional kitchen positioning. However, preferences, for different layouts may ultimately vary, based on the eventual views that the stack will face, and also based on your personal needs. One more thing to note, one of the stacks of the two-bedroom study have slightly curved internal walls due to the building design. We've viewed the show flat, and honestly, the curvature is not that obvious when inside the unit, and it actually looks pretty normal. But it's something that I still want to highlight so buyers are aware. Now we look at the 3-bedroom and 3-bedroom plus study layouts. So the 3 plus study layout has a very good configuration. It is extremely squarish, and efficient. And you'll see that the kitchen also comes with utility room over here, and also a WC, which will eventually you can double that up as a helper's room or use it as a storage eventually. You also get balconies in both the living room as well as the master bedroom. It's actually meant to maximize the views throughout the entire unit. And the study is located right beside the master bedroom. So I'll say you can actually easily convert this eventually into a walk-in wardrobe as well. Or you can just retain it as a dedicated study space. For the regular 3-bedroom layouts, you'll notice slightly more curvature. So for example, you see one layout has a curved master bedroom, and another has a slightly curved common bedroom at the bedroom 3. There's also there's a longer aircon LED strip on the outside. And also, do note that Newport is non-GFA harmonized. The aircon ledge is counted as part of the floor area. So I'll say despite the curvature, the 3-bedroom units still offer, a proper enclosed kitchen. Thereabouts, here and here. Very functional kitchen layout, a comfortable master bedroom size. And in fact, for the 3 plus study, the master bedroom is even wider. It comes with wardrobe space over here, which is a nice premium feature. And the premium 3-bedroom layout also comes with a kitchen, with storeroom over here, and also the additional WC. The only trade-off is slightly more walkway space at the entrance over here, but overall the layout remains functional. As there is only one compact 3-bedroom stack, okay, one premium 3-bedroom stack, and also one 3+ study stack, if a buyer wants a specific 3-bedroom type, there are no alternative stacks. Okay, it's simply either you want it or you don't, because the supply is extremely limited. So here we look at the only 4-bedroom layout. So the 4-bedroom stack sits on the curved portion of the tower, giving it a very wide and panoramic orientation. So I'll say the curvature actually maximizes the views, okay, especially for the sea-facing stacks. And again, inside the unit, the curvature is not that obvious. It actually feels pretty regular once you step in. Okay, I'll say the layout, okay, is highly functional. You can see the dry kitchen flows very nicely, okay, into the dining area and living space towards the balcony area. Okay, and from the dry kitchen corner, I'll say, you can actually enjoy, okay, the wide sweeping view all the way out into the living area, out to the balcony itself. As you are facing the sea, I'll say this creates a very nice, very beautiful extended visual corridor. And you also get a proper wet kitchen as well as a storeroom. But of course, do note there's no private lift for this development. But I'll say, all in all, the master bedroom is extremely luxurious. Okay, comes with a bathtub. Okay, very generous bedroom dimensions. And I'll say the junior master is also very spacious, almost similar to the master bedroom in size. Okay, it's only just slightly smaller. And I'll say for this layout, the living room, the width, okay, is actually at 5.6 meters, creating a very luxurious wide frontage feeling, similar to a landed. And even though some buyers may raise concerns about the curvature of the unit, in practice, I'll say it does not affect the interior usability. Okay, it maximizes the views and also provides a unique architectural feel. So now some of you may ask, does curvature affect profitability? So to address this, we actually take a look at a recent TOP project with curved layouts, okay, which is One Pearl Bank, or OPB for short. So from the floor plans, we can see that One Pearl Bank also has curved floor plates and also curved bedrooms. If you have visited One Pearl Bank, you'll notice that the curvature is actually not too obvious. Okay, inside the unit, rooms simply feel slightly angled but still livable. But of course, do take note that One Pearl Bank has just TOP'd recently, so the transaction volume is still growing. But of course, looking at the sub-sale transactions, the 2 bedrooms have made profits. You can actually see they're actually in the 100K plus or so range. So 3-bedroom units have also seen profits, ranging from 200K to 300K range. Okay, up to even 4-bedroom units have fewer transactions, so there's less data, but there's still one owner who made about $500,000. Okay, I'll say, based on the transactions of One Pearl Bank, the presence of the curved layouts does not seem to negatively impact the profitability. But I'll say there's also a caveat. One Pearl Bank doesn't have as many transactions yet, as it is still a newly TOP project. Okay, and many buyers who bought later are still in their SSD period and they haven't sold. So we have yet to witness the long-term profitability of this condo. Okay, the last extrinsic value we will now discuss is the unit mix and how it will affect future resale performance. So earlier we saw that Tanjong Pagar has a very high proportion of 1 and 2 bedroom units across many existing condos. So because of this, in the future resale market, smaller units may face strong competition, okay, especially from the older projects like Sky Suites or Altes, that would be more affordable. But I'll say, while those condos are totally different products from Newport, okay, they are leasehold, they are older, and not as close to the MRT, they may still attract buyers with tighter budgets who prioritize the price over the freehold status, okay, or the newness. I'll say, this means that future resale value for the smaller units at Newport eventually may be moderated by the amount of competing supply in the vicinity. So however, if we look at larger unit types like the 4-bedroom types, this story is very different. So if we break down all the condos in District 2 with 4-bedroom units, okay, developments like Altes, Lumiere, Warwick, as well as Spottiswoode Park, all of them are, 99-year leasehold. They are older projects, and you can see there's actually zero freehold 4-bedroom supply in the entire district. Okay, across the whole of District 2, okay, the total number of units for 4 bedrooms are only just 75 units altogether. Across the whole of District 2, okay, the total 4-bedroom units, okay, in total is just 75 units altogether. Okay, and the total freehold 4-bedroom units is actually 0. So you can see from here, Newport Residences will offer 18 exclusive 4-bedroom units, okay, and they will also offer the only freehold 4-bedroom in District 2. Okay, that will eventually offer also unblocked sea views, the premium layouts with the excellent configurations, and this will make the 4-bedroom category extremely scarce and unique within the district. And of course, because of the ultra-limited supply, the strong location, the premium layouts, we also believe that Newport eventually will hold the value well over the long term. So whether you are buying the 4-bedroom for own stay, or for investment, the scarcity effect and the desirability will give us far higher confidence in the long term capital appreciation and the resale potential compared to, say, the smaller unit types. So in other words, to sum it up, the 1 and 2 bedrooms, more future competition, so the upside will be a bit more moderated. And the 4 bedders is very unique, it's scarce, and they should hold stronger long-term value retention. So in summary, Newport Residence will offer a strong long-term value due to the freehold status, the iconic design, highly elevated views, and also the excellent MRT connectivity, while the smaller units will face more competition in the resale market due to the large supply of the 1 and 2 bedroom units in District 2. And the 4 bedroom units stand out as an extremely scarce resource, with only 18 units, and the only 4-bedroom freehold in the entire district. So I'll say this makes the 4-bedroom category the most confident pick for long-term value and preservation, and in terms of future appreciation as well, supported by the premium layouts and Block C views. So thanks for watching once again. If you found this useful, remember to hit like, subscribe, and feel free to share with someone who might be looking for a freehold product in the CBD. Thanks for watching again. We'll catch you for the next video. Bye-bye.